The Monday before Thanksgiving in 1991 should have been an ordinary day for an 11-year-old boy in a quiet New Jersey shore town. Instead, became the day he vanished. No confirmed suspect was ever charged, and there are no clear answers. Just a single sneaker found near the water, and a family left waiting for more than 30 years. This is the disappearance of Mark Himebaugh. Delhaven sits along the Delaware Bay in Cape May County, New Jersey. In the early 1990s, it was the kind of place where kids rode their bikes freely, where neighbors knew one another, where danger didn't feel close. Mark Himebaugh was 11 years old, a sixth grader, energetic, independent, and known to explore the neighborhood on his own. Public case summaries also note that Mark had behavioral and emotional challenges and was prescribed medication at the time. Investigators consider these details when evaluating vulnerability, but they do not define who he was, a child with a full life ahead of him. For this case, I spoke with several people who had theories, some of which were very compelling.
My name is Lauren. I was Mark's cousin. We grew up together. I've known him since he was born. Matthew, his older brother, and I were a little bit closer in age. Matthew and I are 6 months apart, where Mark and I were 2 years. When he disappeared, I was 13 and he was 11. He was diagnosed with obsessive compulsive disorder. Prior to that diagnosis, he had some behavioral issues. He would get really angry really quickly if things were out of place, which to us as kids we didn't know anything about mental health. We just thought, what's wrong with Mark? But he was super sweet as well. He started to get tested and go to therapy. He went in fourth grade. He was transferred to Ocean Academy at the time to help deal with the behavioral issues. And he was prescribed Prozac, which really helped calm the obsessive compulsive anxieties down. Mark was almost like a different person. So prior to his disappearance, I spent a lot more time with him in that summer. His mom and dad had separated not long before that summer. But that summer, he was with his mom a lot. So I got a lot more time with him in the summer of 1991. It was just a great summer where we spent time on the beach. I got to know him better.
On November 25th of 1991, Mark was home from school for the Thanksgiving break. By the end of that afternoon, he would be gone.
The day that he disappeared, actually I was with Matthew.
Okay.
He and I we were trying out for the school play, South Pacific. And I just remember being with him that afternoon and went home as usual. The next day, I went to school as usual, and a friend of mine, actually my best friend at the time, her dad was an investigator, a detective with Middle Township Police Department, and she heard him on the phone throughout the night talking about a boy in Delhaven who was missing, who had red hair that was named Mark. Information that the public wasn't privy to.
Right.
But she's nosy and she's good at gathering information. So she came up to me and said, "Have you seen your cousin Matt today?" And I didn't think anything of it. And I said, "No." And she's like, there was like a weird thing last night. Like my dad was on the phone and there's like a missing kid in Delhaven named Mark with red hair. And she's like, "I think your cousin's missing." I'm like, "What?" She's like, "But if you saw Matthew in school today, then it's probably somebody else." So then suddenly I'm like looking for Matt in the hallway and I realize I don't see Matt in the hallway. Suddenly my stomach just started turning. Every time we would have a class change, I would look for Matt where I typically would see him and I didn't see him. And by the end of the day, I was in band, and I went up to my instructor and said, I think I might have a family emergency, but I'm not sure. But I think I have to go home. And he's like, yeah, right. Get back in line. I got back in line, and my stomach was really turning. By the end of band practice, I just ran home. And when I got to my house, my stepbrother and his friend were leaving. And I'm racing to get to the phone, and he says, hey, your mom called. She's over at your Aunt Maureen's house. And I just was like, oh my God, it's true. Like, Mark's missing.
Official records vary slightly on the exact time Mark was last seen. Some sources place it around 3:15 p.m., others close to 4 p.m. What investigators agree on is this. Mark was last seen near his home in Del Haven on the afternoon of November 25th. That same day, a brush fire in the area drew attention. Emergency vehicles responded. Traffic was rerouted through normally quiet roads. More people than usual were moving through the neighborhood. In hindsight, investigators have questioned whether that unusual activity created opportunity. At some point during that window, Mark asked his mother if he could go look. His mother left to assist a friend, and when she returned, Mark was gone.
Well, I get inside, I call my Aunt Maureen's house. Aunt Maureen answers the phone, and she is crying.
Oh.
And I'm like, Aunt Maureen, she's like, hey, sweetie, your mom and Matt are coming to get you right now. I'm like, is it true? And she's like, yeah, we can't find Mark. And suddenly, as soon as she said that, my mom and Matthew pulled up into my driveway.
Oh, wow.
And Matt was, like I said, Mark, it wasn't unlike him to go off and do things on his own, explore. So at first, Matt's demeanor was not worried. He was like, you're not going to believe it. We have Action News. There's reporters. So he's running up, like, excited, like a 12-year-old, not believing anything can really be wrong. And I'm like, that's what you're thinking about? He's like, it's kind of crazy. My mom's really upset. She's like, get in the car. We're going back. So we got in the car, and when we pulled into the neighborhood, it was just already full of news vans and search teams, and I couldn't believe my eyes. I just was like, this is crazy. This is bad.
The searches began quickly, and neighbors joined in. Law enforcement canvassed the area. Then came the discovery that shifted the tone of the investigation. One of Mark's sneakers, his left shoe, was found near the bay, roughly 75 yards from his home. No other confirmed physical evidence has ever been publicly identified. Just one shoe, and nothing else. Police volunteers and neighbors combed the marshlands, wooded areas, and shoreline. Search dogs were deployed, but there were no clear trails leading into the wetlands, no confirmed signs of a struggle, and no belongings beyond that single sneaker. It was as if Mark simply vanished, and that absence of evidence quickly led investigators to consider the possibility that someone had taken him.
As time passed, Lauren tried to continue living her life as best she could. From time to time, rumors about Mark's disappearance would reach her, some more disturbing than others.
I was a sophomore in high school, and that was when the news got hold of the male prostitute who said he saw a video from one of his customers, snuff video of a red-haired kid tied up, bound, and according to the male prostitute, he thought it was Mark. And when I heard that, I cried a lot.
Of course.
And then I just saw Jesus. Like, this is the worst case scenario coming true that we all imagined and didn't want to imagine. And I went, and then they had the sketch and matched it, or a lot of speculation about it being Thomas Butt Cabbage.
Yeah.
They look a lot alike.
The investigation continued with no leads or additional evidence being recovered that could help detectives find a possible main suspect. As time pushed on, new investigators took on the case, with one standing out over the rest.
there were several investigators in Mark's case. It was always an open case. It was never closed. So as people would retire, new people would take on the case. And when Rich McHale came on the case, he took more of an interest than anybody had before and really made promises to my Aunt Maureen. And when he got on the case, we were kind of excited because he had such an enthusiasm and was really I'm going to be different than everybody. I'm really going to uncover, go look at every stone and turn it over again. So if there is something that's been missing, I'm going to find it. And it really instilled a lot of hope.
34 years have now passed since Mark's disappearance. In that time, no new evidence has been made public or major leads have emerged. For many following the case, it has come to feel like a file that has quietly sat on a shelf. Whether due to a department overwhelmed with active cases, the challenges that come with aging investigations, or possibly something more. In part 2, we speak with a woman who shares a compelling story connected to the case. Her account raises new questions and points to details that, if explored further, could potentially shed light on what happened, if investigators are willing to take a closer look and continue digging.